Hello everybody, Jordan here. The PH is silent. Today we're talking about the Sea of Fallen Stars. This is the largest body of water that is inland in Faerun. It's known as the Inner Sea. All around it are thriving coastal towns and cities. The sea is treacherous though and is home to hundreds of shipwrecks silent underneath thousands of feet of water. The Sea of Fallen Stars gets its name from the stars that fell from the sky and shaped the land, allowing water to rush in and create the sea. This event, which we've talked about before but I'll recap, is known as the Tearfall. The Tearfall was a planet-wide disaster that struck Abir back when they were one planet during the Days of Thunder. Much of the Inner Sea merged together, forming the Sea of Fallen Stars. And it's called the Tearfall because one theory says that the tears of Saloon, which were the stars in the sky or a large ice comet, fell to Abir. This dramatically changed the climate and brought an end to the Batrachi civilization and heralded in the Age of Dragons as the apex predator of Faerun. There is another myth that it was dragon eggs, not an ice comet or moon, that fell from the heavens during the Tearfall, and these dragon eggs hatched into the first dragons. Regardless if this is true or not, it is well documented that dragons appeared shortly after the Tearfall. Yet another myth states that the Tearfall was caused by the Batrachi themselves. They were losing a war against the Titans and performed a summoning ritual to release some primordials from their ancient prisons. One of these primordials, known as Asgorath the World Shaper, attempted to destroy Abir by hurling an ice moon at it. Lord Ao intervened and sundered the world in two, forming Abir and Tiril. This event was always known as the Tearfall, but later on in history became known for what it actually was, the First Sundering. Asgorath is known as being the dragon's creator because the dragons appeared shortly after the Tearfall. It was a lot of earthquakes and continent rearranging that formed the Sea of Fallen Stars. The Saruk's writings, dated around negative 31,000 DR, mentioned a changing of the stars that followed the Tearfall. Perhaps this is where we get the idea that a comet or literally stars fell from the sky and reshaped Abir. The communities around the Sea of Fallen Stars rely heavily on fishing. Usually small boats near the coast will fish for food and profit. Larger cities have whole fleets, and the very rich of Sembia and Cormyr might take part in deep sea fishing for sport. Also, these communities have become excellent shipbuilders, as being able to utilize and traverse the Sea of Fallen Stars is crucial to their survival. Shipping food and materials across the Sea of Fallen Stars can be dangerous. The sea is often home to wild storms, making the waters unsafe. There are hundreds of sunken ships on the sea floor, some still with gold and merchandise waiting for a lucky adventurer to find. Most cargo ships hug the coastlines. They are not fast, but can hold up to 100 tons of cargo with a crew of 30 men and women. The bulk of surface activity happens within 15 or 20 miles from the coast, and the primary trade lanes run from the Dragon Coast, Cormyr, and Sembia down to Termish. Pirates. It wouldn't be a sea without pirates. There are various types of pirates on the Sea of Fallen Stars. There are true pirates who attack ships, kill the crew, and take any gold and cargo. There are noble pirates who take cargo but leave the crew intact. Many of these are decent people thrown into piracy for survival. There are smugglers that have been branded as pirates, attempting to avoid taxes and other fees they view as unjust. And finally, corsairs are the pirates at beck and call of individual coastal governments who raid other pirates or political enemies. Geographical locations around the Inner Sea consist of Cormyr, Sembia, the Vast, Thesk, Aglarand, and Thay, as well as others. Surprisingly, most of these governments have similar laws when concerning seafaring. Salvaging treasure from various sunken shipwrecks of the Inner Sea is more difficult, but not unlike dungeon delving. Any sunken ship within territorial waters becomes property of the authorities, but the government usually only takes a 20% tax. The waters of these governments are considered to be the first 10 miles from the shore. Anything further than that isn't in their jurisdiction. Attacks on ships in their waters are considered an act of war against the city or state. Also, fishing without paying for a permit in the waters is considered illegal. There are plenty of superstitions that surround the Sea of Fallen Stars. They're a little silly, but some of the more interesting ones are: if a shark bites a boat and leaves any teeth in the wood, the boat has as many days as there are teeth before falling prey to disaster. Red-haired people bring bad luck onto ships, thus barring their use as dockhands. Never utter the word drown while at sea. It attracts Umberlee's attention without fail. And tattooing open eyes on your eyelids warns you of danger while you sleep. There are some interesting fables, lore, or history of the sea and its past civilizations. The Netheril have a sunken city called Nahalith Nahalith was an enclave that was floating over the Sea of Fallen Stars during Karsus's folly. More info on that in the pop-up above. And when the floating city fell, it crashed, settling 200 feet below the water's surface. Numerous monsters inhabit the Sea of Fallen Stars. Dragon turtles, for one, are the great dangers of the lower depths. Kuatoans, krakens, sea zombies, and sea hags often live in or around the Sea of Fallen Stars. If you want to explore further, there is a whole geography to the bottom of the Sea of Fallen Stars and the weird creatures that live there. I got a lot of information for this video from the AD&D accessory Sea of Fallen Stars. The book has whole sections on running a campaign or interlude campaign on or below the Sea of Fallen Stars. If your party members find themselves exploring undersea ruins, you might want to pick up this book. It has information on breathing underwater, as well as vision and underwater communication. How does water pressure affect your party, or temperature for that matter? Everything from movement to underwater combat. Although it's AD&D, I think most of the information can be converted to 5e with little effort. And that's it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and checking out my Patreon. I really appreciate the love and support, and I'll see you all in the next video.